Now, one of the controversial aspects of the budget was when it was with the Senate. I know that Senator Ping Lacson wanted to remove 50 billion pesos from DPWH because of the right-of-way.
Yes.
And then it was restored. Can you explain what happened in the BICAM?
Yes. Actually, Senator Ping had studied the DPWH budget. Now, as one of my vice chairs for the Finance Committee, along with Senator J.V. Ejercito, Senator Cynthia Villar, Senator Sani Angara, and Senator Bam Aquino. So Senator Ping is one of the veteran and senior senators and has a very good eye in looking at the budget. And he was looking at the public works budget and saw how we could cull out public works funding to put in, let's say, increase of teachers' allowance, let's say the purchase of helicopters for our police, and most, if not all, of the 50 billion amendments, I agree. And I embraced it as my own, and I adopted it in the committee report. However, upon discussion with the Public Works Department through Secretary Villar, we found out that the 50 billion that were taken out from the Public Works Department to put in other equally important government services were actually ongoing projects, were actually new projects that had to be implemented in various regions of the country. And so we decided it cannot be transferred to the social and economic services we wanted to transfer them to. So that was my predicament. I accepted his amendments. They're very good amendments. It's for biotechnology, for the OST, for teachers, for helicopters, etc., for education. So we had a small group meeting and we said, hindi naman pwede because it's part of the Build, Build, Build program. So I restored and returned the 50 billion. And I asked DPWH, can you please show me...
Will they really spend the 50 billion?
That's a good question. The reason why we cut them, because they are one, just like the OTR, Transport, Department of Transport, DPWH, Department of Education, and Department of Transport are one of the slow-moving agencies in the past years. Not just this administration, even in the previous administration, and including 2016 and 2017. And if you will recall, in 2016, there was almost 600 million of underspending I'm sorry, 596 billion of underspend.
Because the DOTR returned 11 billion to you.
I think so. That was...
I mean, to the National Treasury.
Total around 596. So I said, sayang naman pag di magastos and we can actually give it to the people. But the Public Works Department assured us that with the restoration of the 50 billion, which actually would go to projects without right-of-way problems, because what Senator Ping and I were looking at were road projects that had legal problems or issues, so they could not be implemented because there were right-of-way problems.
Okay, but why add 11 billion pesos more to the DPWH? So the BICAM restored the 50 billion, but then the DPWH got an additional 11 billion, is that correct?
There were amendments also which came from other agencies, and these amendments were additional infrastructure because of the Build, Build, Build program of government.
Given the fact that we are vulnerable to climate change, does this budget address our needs for climate change?
That's the reason why I open with that, because clearly we have the NDREAM fund. That is a fund where all the needs of local communities, of local governments, of our people. And whereas before, the NDREAM fund was a lump sum.
What's NDREAM? It will be...
National Disaster Risk Reduction Management Fund. Yes, and apart from the NDREAM fund, which is a lump sum fund, there are also agencies which have quick response fund lodged. Ang linigay ko this for next year under their agencies, because it used to be NDREAM and then the agencies have to request from the NDREAM fund. But what we did for 2018 is nandun na sa ahensya nila, which used to be in the past years as well. Let's say the SWD for 2018, they're 1.250 billion, so that they can actually, it allows them to pre-position goods and services.
Yeah.
So hindi lang pag dumating ang bagyo, nasalanta na yung mga tao, doon pa lang pupunta. But actually, matagal nang nandun ang mga goods, nandun na ang mga tao, at lalo na ang mahalaga, DOH, nandyan dapat ang mga nurses, ang napakahalaga, ang AFP, ang DND. Dati, ang AFP at ang OCD or Office of Civil Defense ay walang QRF, pero binigyan din natin.
Okay.
Just so that the people would know also, ano ba ang mga ahensya ng gobyerno na may quick response fund sa ilalim ng ating NDREAM.
Okay.
Ang DepEd nandyan, ang DSWD, ang DA at saka DPWH, ang AFP, mahalaga yan. First responders yan ang DOH, and OCD, and NIA, irrigation, and NEA, electrification. So, this is provided for in next year's budget. It is provided for in this year's budget.
Okay. Now, when it comes to the DILG,
yes,
did you already scrap the controversial 500 million pesos that was intended for the Masa Masid program?
Yes.
It's
yes.
gone.
The Masa Masid program, during the time of Secretary Sueño, in the beginning of the Duterte administration, is no more.
Okay.
In place of that, there are other law enforcement activities with incoming Secretary General Anyo, and OIC Secretary Cuy also wrote me. I wish I could have that letter. It's only 450, not 500 million. That sort of replaced the 500 I took out from their budget. So I was very transparent with them when I meet with the cabinet members or regional directors, and I tell them no. And this is all discussed on the floor.
Where did you move the budget?
The 500, I believe, was moved, part of it, to the housing of police and military.
Okay.
Because even the 900 million of the double barrel under the PNP DILG budget was taken out in plenary. I accepted the minority leader, Senator Drilon's interpellation, and for an amendment later on concurred in by the Senate President to take out or delete the 900 million double barrel, they would call it, and put it in AFP, PNP housing. And I just have a concern here because the National Housing Authority from 2011 to 2016, and they know that, I'm not very happy with them because they wasted tens and tens of billions of hard-earned government funds to houses for the PNP and the military of 20 square meters, which were never consulted, consulted the beneficiaries. And so, nakatiwangwang po. Yan po ay pera ng taong bayan sa buwis at hindi nagagamit dahil una, walang konsultasyon, kaya maliit. Pangalawa ay sa malayong lugar na walang kuryente at walang tubig. At yun siguro may mga road to nowhere, ito houses in nowhere. So I don't want this 900 million coming from the budget of the PNP DILG to be the same way. So, it's just a fair warning to the National Housing Authority. After this budget is signed, I will sit down with them. I'm not yet finished with them. They have to explain the 2011 to 2016 funding and how we can make use of the tens and tens of billions of homes unused. Give it to the informal settlers in those localities, the victims of Urduha, the victims of Typhoon Pablo. They're still victims of Haiyan, Yolanda in 2013, and then this 900. It's actually, to be fair, to be accurate, 850 because the 50 I put in body cams.
Are you satisfied with the BICAM, the result in the BICAM when it came to the coal tax?
Well, first of all, Karen, let me just clarify. The increase in the excise tax of diesel, which is considered fossil fuel, is 2 pesos 50. No?
For 2018 lang.
Per kilo.
Per kilo,
The increase in the coal tax is, guess how much? For per kilo, kilo, liter, 2 pesos 50. Piso.
LPG.
Yes. Coal is 5 centavos.
So that's the approved.
Per kilo.
That's the
approved version. And my proposal was 10 centavos. So, will you complain? Other fossil fuel, 250. Piso. Ito, 5 centavos. Apples and apples yan, kilo, So, ang tanong ko lang, because it's been incentivized for more than 30 years. Hindi ginagalaw. Taas tayo ng taas ng cost ng diesel, gasolina, kerosene, LPG, gasol. Siguro pag fossil fuel, para hindi masyadong mahit ang isang sektor. Kasi ang diesel, yung mga genset sa mga isla, yung mga bangkero at mangingisda, hindi ba? Yun ang ginagamit nila sa mga bangka nila. Tapos yung mga kerosene naman, yan ang ginagamit ng mga walang ilaw. So para may parity, wag natin naman spare ang isang sektor ng fossil fuel kasi hindi nabubuwisan ng 30 years. Now, it was for 30 years, 10 pesos per metric ton of coal. Ask me, how much in Vietnam? 900 pesos per metric ton.
I see.
In other countries, it's 400 to 900 pesos per metric ton. In the Philippines, 10 pesos per metric ton, which translates and now it's been increased to 50 pesos per metric ton, which translates to 5 centavos per kilo increase compared to the peso and 2 pesos 50 centavos.
Okay, but would it have affected prices of electricity? Senator Drilon said, like in Iloilo, they all use coal and diesel.
First of all, the Department of Finance already stated, it's not my statement that it's negligible. In fact, the impact on the economy is net positive. Because we're just doing parity. If you will raise this 250, you will raise this 1 peso, you will raise this 5 centavos. And so why incentivize something that's equally dirty or even dirtier? You know, in terms of percentages, gas is being natural gas, which is fossil fuel but cleaner than coal, is being taxed 43%. The other resources are 10%. And this is it's nil. So
you feel it wouldn't have affected, it was just. That's what, it was time.
Because for a 100 kilowatt consumption household, the net effect will be 75 centavos a month, Karen. So it's important that people understand this.
We should have talked about this
If you look at this table, bubuwisan mo ng lahat ng gasolina, kerosene, gasol. Pero ang coal ayaw mong buwisan. Bakit? Kailangan pantay-pantay or para hindi masyado masakta ng mangingisda at saka yung mga sa genset sa diesel, siguro yung iba dito naman sa coal. At saka there's no such thing as puro coal kasi blended ang energy mix
My
natin.
last question is it true as of now that local coal is tax-free?
Yes.
Lumusot yun.
Karen,
Who did that?
Well,
would you know?
Ganito, Karen. There's a presidential decree in martial law 972, 1976 that exempts local or domestic coal from any form of taxation except income tax. So we felt kung imported, may excise tax na 5 centavos per kilo and they pay VAT, the local coal of 1976 na exempted lahat yan, pantay-pantay. Yun ang view ko kasi ako'y patas na tao And that was agreed upon in the BICAM. But suddenly when we were signing the BICAM reports, only the excise tax of 5 centavos per kilo or 50 centavos per metric ton ang lumabas. And then the VAT, they're still VAT-free. So I did not feel comfortable with that.
But how can that happen? Actually, it alarms ordinary citizens like myself.
Why the local coal was exempted? I don't think I should answer for that because I'm not the chairman of the committee. It would be best. Because you asked Secretary Dominguez, in my understanding in the BICAM, it was never discussed local or imported. Pantay-pantay. Coal ka, coal ka. Hindi ba?
So was there some kind of deceit na nilusot yun?
I don't want to say that. All I can say is that per my recollection and my memory, the agreement in the bicameral report was coal, excise tax of 50 pesos for 2018, and everybody pays VAT, including the long-exempted domestic or local coal. But in the final report, it was different. You can look at my signature. I said that I have deep and serious reservations because the discussions or the agreement is entirely different from what came out in the BICAM report. But I am not one to impute any motives. At best, it could be a misunderstanding, but the Department of Finance is with me, Secretary Dominguez, Undersecretary Chua, and they know that the agreement was everyone should pay VAT. So I'm not sure why one company or just a small group was exempted. I have no idea, and I cannot answer for that. I expressed my serious reservations.